Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into an idea that really challenges a fundamental assumption about knowledge itself. We're going to explore the concept that true power might not come from speaking, but from the deliberate act of, well, not knowing. So let's start with a simple question. We usually think of silence as just nothing, right? An empty space, an absence of sound, of information. But what if that's all wrong? What if it's not an absence at all, but something you can actually fill? The source we're looking at today presents this fascinating argument that silence isn't passive in the slightest. No, instead, it's an active, powerful tool for building up a kind of internal energy, a deep inner strength that ultimately leads to real wisdom. And this energy has a name, Ne Gong. The idea is pretty straightforward. When you observe the world, when you listen to other people, you're basically absorbing knowledge. Now, if you can resist that natural urge to immediately speak and instead you let that knowledge just settle, it starts to build up inside you, creating this amazing reservoir of inner power. Okay, so how does this energy of silence actually work? Well, the core idea is that every single moment of observation is like an intake of energy. And by choosing not to immediately release that energy by talking, you let it build up. You let it compound inside you. And here's where it gets kind of wild, a really counterintuitive twist. The source claims that this practice is most effective not in some quiet, peaceful monastery on a mountain, but right in the middle of a loud, chaotic marketplace. The thinking is, the greater the external chaos you can silently observe without reacting, the more potent the internal energy you build. But, and this is a huge but, this is about way more than just not talking. And honestly, this is where most people who try this get it completely wrong. The common idea of taking a vow of silence totally misses the point. It is not just about the physical act of staying quiet. You know, holding up a sign, using hand gestures to ask for some water, or just being rude by ignoring a simple hello. These are all superficial and they're incorrect. Basic politeness is expected. It doesn't break the real practice. And as for the gestures, and this quote just brilliantly nails the core idea. The goal isn't just to stop your vocal cords from moving. It's to stop the impulse to express yourself, to transfer your thought to somebody else. So if you use your hands to make someone understand something, you've spoken, you've released that energy. Okay, so if it's not about being physically mute, what is the true practice? This is what the source calls the vow of not knowing. And believe me, it is a much, much deeper concept. Here it is, the true definition, according to our source. The real vow is a vow of not knowing. It's all about recognizing the limits of your own understanding and having the discipline to stop acting like you have all the answers when you really don't. So this is the crucial point, right? The practice gets broken every single time you offer an opinion you aren't 100% certain of. Every time you answer a question just to fill the silence, or you play the expert on a topic you only kinda understand. You're breaking the vow. And all that Ne Gong you've built up, it's gone. It resets to zero. Now, as you can imagine, this path of intellectual humility is, well, it's far from easy. And according to the source, the very moment you truly commit to it, the universe itself starts to test that commitment, and in very personal ways. It's an incredible concept, really. These challenges aren't random. They are tailor-made to exploit your specific triggers. So, if you have a deep need to be seen as the smartest person in the room, guess what? That's exactly where the test is going to show up. So imagine this. You're at a meeting, and two of your colleagues are arguing about something, and they are getting a fundamental fact completely wrong about a topic you know inside and out. That overwhelming urge to jump in, to correct them, to be the hero, that is the test. And giving in to that temptation, even if you are totally right, drains your internal power. Your progress is wiped clean. And what's so crucial to understand here is that the source claims these tests aren't some kind of external punishment. They are a direct reflection of your own inner desire. The more you want this wisdom, the bigger and harder the tests will become. Your own ego is basically inviting the challenge. So all of this leads us to the final and probably the most important distinction. You see, there's a right way and a wrong way to approach this whole thing, and the difference between them is everything. So the wrong way is to treat it like a project, announcing, I'm doing a 100 days silence challenge. That is an act of desire. It's goal-oriented, and because it's driven by that want, it just invites failure. The right way, well, it isn't a challenge at all. It's a natural state that just sort of arises from a genuine, deep realization of your own limitations, from truly, honestly understanding, I don't know. This quote from the source just says it all, doesn't it? The practice isn't something you decide to start, it's something that starts on its own, the moment you achieve a certain level of true self-awareness. It's not an act of will, it's a consequence of humility. And really, that's the powerful idea at the heart of this entire explainer. It challenges our deep-seated belief that expressing ourselves is always a good thing. It asks us to stop and consider that maybe, just maybe, true power doesn't come from having the answer, but from having the wisdom to know when you don't.